From the heart of the Appalachian Hills, nestled in between an outhouse and a moonshine still, comes the twosome of unparalleled levels of cool. She loves her mountain magic and he's a folk-telling carny fool. Prepare to hear legends from Bigfoot to Loki as they try to decipher what in the actual hell is a hokey. She's the black-veiled beauty and my goodness he's got a purty mouth. They've escaped the land of lobsters and returned to the haunted South. Welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow with your hosts, John and Stacey Edwards of ParanormalSideshow.com. Hello and welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow. I'm your host, John Edwards, and joined as always by my lovely wife, Stacey.
Hello.
And we are experiencing a harvest moon.
Yes, we are.
We are actually recording right at the epitome. That's not the word. It's right at the optimal. No, it's at the top of it. It's
the
like
exact moment.
Yeah, the exact moment of the moon, of the full moon.
The fullest of the full moon.
Yeah, pretty full moon, which would be the epitome of a full moon, I would suppose. I don't know. The is epitome. That's an E, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. See. I remember a few things every now and then. You stupid smartphones, you can't take it all from me. You can't take it all from me. You can take my calculations, but you can't take all of my vocabularies. They're still there somewhere. Yes, it is a woofy time for me.
Yes, it is.
And it's a time for you to sleep in the other room. Because I get woofy.
Yes, you do.
It's a lot of things. Like I noticed myself earlier today getting very passionate about things that I'm passionate about, but not necessarily that passionate about.
Right, you are over passionate.
Over passionate. So I didn't really notice, and I hashtag Bruce Wayne job. Somebody, by the way, asked me what exactly is my hashtag Bruce Wayne job, and It's one of the perks of being a patron. I was going through, I was like, you're a patron. Let me tell you, I'm Batman.
Yes, of course you are.
Yeah, that's the Bruce Wayne job. That's a little Batman joke. Do you like the bat humor there?
Yes, very nice.
Right. I liked it too. I didn't mean that to happen, so that was really cool. That's how much I love Batman. It's just there. So anyway, earlier today, I was on a conference call.
Over passionate
about a small factor of our business. And my superior, my supervisor, he actually asked, it's just like one of those polite questions, right? Anybody else got anything to say about this? That's kind of his voice, actually. And I was like, yeah, I do. And I cut like a wrestling promo. Just cut a wrestling promo. And so 5.5 minutes later, it's like, anybody else? It's always like, well, thank you, John. Anybody else?
Is that when you hear the crickets?
Oh, it's the crickets. It's the crickets. They hated me up north. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get there. The difference here, though, is that I sound like everybody.
That's true.
Up there, I didn't.
No, that's true.
So it was that much harder to swallow.
Kind of stood out.
Yeah, I stood out a lot, but that's just the way things go sometimes. But with the full moon, I have to watch out.
You do.
I have to beware of the full moon. Because it's always drove me nuts. I don't know what it is. They say, crimes go up. They say
the crazy comes out.
Yeah, babies are born a lot, like when there's a full moon. And
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Women go into labor, yeah.
Oh.
More when there's a full moon. I can only liken it to maybe, how the water works, right? With the moon.
Right.
Maybe it breaks water.
I mean, maybe. It's a theory.
There's two moons over top the baby, so maybe they're controlled by I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm going to stop while I'm ahead.
You probably should.
Oh, yes. So we don't get any kind of offensive nature going on, like we're non-offensive or something like that. So I just came off a medical crisis. Yeah, that's the reason for a week and a half instead of a week.
Yes.
So we didn't feel like being funny during the middle of that, but it was interesting. Apparently, you can't throw yourself willingly onto concrete floors for many years and off top ropes without expecting a certain degree of back pain.
Can't come away unscathed, can you?
And that seems to be the general consensus with the physicians.
Yes.
But once we got everything done, and you know what? I don't care. Like, I can have 14 bulging disc and just giggle about bulging disc.
Right.
I can have this going this way and that going that way. That kind of stuff don't bother me. I mean, yeah, it hurts. It hurts bad.
Right.
But that kind of stuff don't bother me until it's an organ, right?
Right.
When it's an organ, everything changes.
Organs are pretty important.
Well, when they even hint about an organ when you're at the doctor, you're like, what was that? You're not even paying attention. They're like, well, your blood pressure's a bit high. It seems you ate too much barbecue. And then they're like, and then your organ. And you're like, huh? What? And especially when you're getting, early middle age.
Very early.
Late 20s, you when you get, in that you start, for a man, there's a couple things. You worry about getting the finger up your butt.
Right.
Okay, because you hear about that from the time you're 19.
Right.
You're like, you haven't got that finger up your butt. You hear all these old men, and you're just like, no, sir. You just wait, boy. You just wait. You're going to get that finger up the butt. You better hope you get one of those that don't enjoy it too much. But then again, sometimes they don't hurt as bad. So it's one of those things. There's rites of passage when you're a man. People think it's easy.
Right.
There's rites of passage that you have to go through. Horrible things. The first whiskers, and that's how the old men always say, you got any whiskers on that lip? You ain't got no whiskers on that lip. Your sister's got more whiskers than you. And you got to go through that. You got to be tough, right? So you have to, even if you're like a book reader, you got to be tough or you're just broken. You're not right. It's like, oh no, what'd you let that boy knock you in your ass for? So it's those kind of things you have to go through your whole life. When you become an adult, it doesn't get any better. If you get a job, there's always someone that's been there 10 years longer.
Right.
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. That's really good that you did that, but you ain't seen nothing, There's always somebody more. So I think one of the reasons that I've kept getting promoted and kept working so hard and kept trying to get better is so I can finally get people to shut up. So I can finally get to a level where I walk in a room and they go, well, we ain't got shit to say to you. Go, they shake your hand, give you the keys, and they go. And they just leave you to yourself. And there's nobody that has anything over you.
There you go.
But it's like that in every part of life. And I'm sure, with a female, with a woman, that there's a million things that are just, this and that and all these milestones and all this stuff. It's just more bullyish with men.
Right.
With women, It's kind of like, come on, darling, let me take you upstairs and I'm going to explain some things to you.
Take you into the fold.
Right. They tell you the secrets. They tell you how you survive for 7 days with blood and don't die and all this stuff.
Right.
They do all that. You have all those talks, those motherly talks, right? With men, it's a bunch of just teasing you, all through your life. They just tease you, and it's terrible. It's horrific. So I'm telling you, when you're going through medical things, you as a man have the finger up the butt. All right, and I haven't checked that one.
Putting that one off as long as you can. That
one's not been checked. And then there's in a medical capacity, that's not been checked. And then there is something wrong with your organ.
Right.
All right. Any organ, pick an organ. Okay. They're all bad, right? Well, there's one that doesn't matter that much, but it's still surgery. So yeah, when that happens, you change everything. That day, you will flush cigarettes, you will throw skull out, you'll kill the dog, you'll do whatever, you'll sacrifice under the blood moon, you'll do whatever you have to do to fix that organ, right? Everything changes. People find Jesus, everything, the atheists are digging out their Bibles. It's
become a vegetarian.
Oh yeah, you vegetarian, organic, freaking, whatever the flavor of the week is, and I can, you can go in my medicine cabinet and you can find a million vitamins, I remember laughing at old men when I was younger, going, "Why do you take 400,000 vitamins?" You know, well, I need this one for this, and this one for this, and this one for this, and you know, and it always kind of, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'll be fine. I will be fine. I will get through it without that crap. But sure enough, I went out there and I bought everything I needed to do, and I went through all this stuff, and I was all worried, and then go back to the doctor after they do the test, and we go back and it was all good news. Well, good news, and oh my God, son, how does your back support you with all that stuff? They're always like, "Were you in a car wreck?" No.
Sort of.
Yeah, it's called my life. There's been a lot of stuff happen. Yeah, but yeah, it's one of those things that it did happen. It was a little bit of a scare, and at least, you know, hey, I got a good diet out of it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's I am eating some much better stuff, and
we added to your vitamin pile just a bit.
The vitamin pile is definitely higher now. So it's just one of those things that, you know, I don't know. It's just one of those things that it's a good thing that you get checked out. You know, it's a good thing to get checkups. It's a good thing to regularly take care of yourself, because the peace of mind. Once you're okay, because that's the best thing in the world. Like, you're being all nice to everybody. I was calling friends that I don't usually call. You know, I was going back through messages, because I'm a busy guy. I was going back through messages and being like, "Hey, Petey, I'm sorry that I haven't haven't replied since 2015. It's really not
trying
fair."
to rack up some good karma there.
Well, yeah, talking to, you know, doing all the stuff you got to do, right? And then as soon as you get that bill of health, the doctor's like, "Well, you know, you're gonna live a long, healthy life." Oh, am I? And then you're out there just like slapping girls on the butt, and, you know, just being all crazy and not answering phones, and you just go right back. It's just human nature.
It is.
You know, but hey, we're like closing in quickly. You know, this is the harvest full moon.
It is.
So that, you know what that means, right?
That means it's getting on to fall.
It's getting on to fall.
Yes, our favorite time of year.
It is getting on to autumn. I love it. It's just beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous. It won't be quite as gorgeous because we won't be able to see those New England leaves.
No, that's true. But I mean, they have pretty leaves around here in the mountains.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
You're like, eh.
I mean, it's not like that. I mean, people come from all over the world to see those.
True. Those were beautiful. We did get to see them.
Those only happened the first year we were up there.
Yeah, the second year it was not
were
as
nasty.
good.
Yeah, it was like copper. It was like everything with copper everywhere. It was horrible. No, I'm really excited about it. I mean, of course, October is our favorite season, as the meme says.
It is.
All kinds of great stuff in October.
Yes.
Your birthday.
Yes, good things happen in October.
They do. So Cody's birthday.
Yep.
All kinds of stuff. It's just it's way too many birthdays. Anytime there's more than one, and it's immediate family, it's not
That's too many.
It's not a good thing. But if I needed gift ideas, I would probably go to paranormalsideshow.com. That's your address to find out everything birthday for Halloween. It's really not. Facebook.com/paranormalsideshow. You will find all kinds of jack-o'-lanterns and some jack-offs as well. On the Twitter, it's at Sideshow97. You need to go on there and keep up with us because it's fun to do, yo. And then on Instagram, Hot Halloween Damn, it's John and Stacey Edwards. And if you want to become a patron, you want to go to patreon.com/paranormalsideshow, because that's the place where you can go and you can pick a level, any level, and enjoy some John and Stacey goodies, and enjoy some old catalog Haunted South, enjoy some cool t-shirts, enjoy some escapades like you've never seen before. We've got bearded ladies and juggling dogs and talking weasels.
Of course.
Everything you can imagine. Just let your fantasies run wild. And
we are a sideshow.
Let your fantasies run wild.
It's not that kind of
Can I make it sound like one of those things that come on like after 1 o'clock on on one of the cable channels. You know, you're watching your normal show that you like during the day, like you're watching Supernatural 2 a.m, right? And then all of a sudden, like it's a different commercial. It's like, hi there, I'm so lonely. I wish you would call me. I've been waiting. Call me now, big boy. 1-900 blank blank blank.
You know,
blankety blank blank.
Your voice sounds very familiar.
I've been waiting for you. But then you call it from what I hear. And it's someone like, hey, what you doing? What's your name? Hello, how you doing? And then there's like 40 other guys on the line going, hey, yo. Hey, what you doing? What you doing?
You mean everybody's on the same line?
Yes.
It's like a party line?
It's a party line. Or it was in 93 when I ran up the phone bill. I got in so much trouble. Like, I drank like 10 too many. And I was sitting there and I was watching something and it was like, you know, it was something. And she came on, you know, and she had like the 80s hair because it was damn near the 80s. And she's like, hey, are you all alone late at night?
Was she holding a phone?
Yeah, on her bed. So
you knew that you were going to talk to her?
Yeah, she was on her bed in a satin like gown, you know.
Right.
And she's just like, are you feeling all alone just like me? And I'm like, yeah, I am. Would you like the comfort of a woman? Yeah, actually, I would. Well, give me a call. Okay. And I missed,
you're easily swayed.
I missed the whole charge part. And I get on there and it was exactly like that. It was just like, you hear the one woman, she's just like, hey, hello, how you doing? And you got all these guys going, yo, hey, yo, what you wearing? What do you mean what I'm wearing? What is it wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing? And then it's like all these guys like arguing. And the one chick sitting there just like, hi, how you doing? It was so terrible.
Oh, that's funny.
It was so horrible. It was like a really weird experience. And it was also like $600. I think what happened is I just got so interested at that point.
Right. Just wanted to see where it was going.
Yeah. I mean, I was just like, does it get better? You know, it's like.
That's how they get you.
Does anything happen? And then you kind of like, am I listening to like, did somebody just drop a microphone downtown? I mean, is you know, what's going on here? Is this Mardi Gras?
Oh, wow.
But hey, you know what? There you go. Personal time, right? That's a great story. I think it's about time for some paranormal news.
So let's get to the news. Okay, so we're going to start with an update about the Sunspot Observatory closure that we talked about last week. That was so strange because there was no explanation.
At the what?
At the observatory?
Yes.
I was having trouble with that a minute ago.
Earlier, yeah.
So we talked about this on the last show and how odd it was, and there was tons of speculation about why it was closed and evacuated because the observatory was evacuated.
Because it's the planet Arium.
And the local post office that was right there next to it was also evacuated.
Yes.
Like that whole little area. And the FBI was there, black helicopters, tons of strange things going on and no explanation.
Of course.
They were just very hush about it. They wouldn't really let the media in there, you know, and they weren't saying.
Well, the media wasn't really trying.
Right.
Yeah.
They weren't really saying what was going on. It was just very, hush, hush. Exactly. So since then, since our last show, we actually had one of our listeners.
One of our street team, yes.
Yes, contact us that lives in that area and had some really good information.
He always has great information. It's whenever I hear from, we'll just call him Chris. Whenever I hear from Chris, because, I don't want to divulge too much just in case, because I get some really good information from him. I mean, really good information.
Yes.
We know about your tunnels. You hear that, government? They're going to be going around looking for anybody. Like, they'll be going to building 3.
Right.
Chris. Right. Oh, yeah? Come with us. What is it, sir? You've been listening to the podcast again, eh? Come on. I don't know why they sound like 50s criminals all of a sudden. But yeah, we'll just call him Chris, is a wealth of information, and he gives us such details. Love all the street team, love all the people, we got our buddies in Argentina, we got our buddies get well, by the way, Jeffrey. Not in Argentina, but
no.
Yes. No. There's friends everywhere. But we'll just call him Chris, gives us quite a bit of scoops. Yes. So speaking of the scoops, he gave us a few scoops.
Yes, he did. Well, he gave us some information, things that weren't exactly reported with this story because it wasn't part of this story, but it's interesting to note. And one of the things he talked about was how this particular community, this town or whatever that was evacuated, isn't really a normal town. It's more just a community of people that work at that observatory.
Right.
And it's actually not that many people.
Right.
Like, they made it sound like all these people were rushed out.
The town's been shut down.
And like the local post office, I think, has 2 employees.
Yeah.
And there weren't that many employees at the observatory. I think he said in total maybe 20, 15, probably closer to 15, maybe 20 people that were actually evacuated. And it's more like a facility campus kind of thing with, and there are houses where the employees' families live, but it's not technically a civilian town.
Right.
And all the land, is federal land. It's owned either by the observatory or by, the Forest Service or something like that. So it's not what we would typically think of as, just a location.
Right.
So that was kind of a little bit strange. I thought that they didn't really, talk about that. No, they made it seem
sensationalized.
Yes, they sensationalized. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So this particular observatory has a lot of universities that, send people there to work.
Right.
And, it's not that far away from a couple of different federal
you could see White Sands with a drone.
Right there. So the fact that the FBI was there really quickly was not really that unusual because, it's unusual they were there and the sheriff's office didn't get to be involved. But I think people were saying, they got there so quick and it was so strange. But it's really not that strange because the FBI is really located close to this area.
Okay.
Anyway. And in the timeline, after the observatory was closed on September 6th, he also said that there was a lot of bad weather up there. And in this area, when there's bad weather, it's really bad because it's on the side of a mountain. So there is a possibility that it stayed closed for several days because there was flooding and the power went out, things like that. Mm-hmm. So now the observatory is back open, and they have come out with an official statement of why it was closed. The official statement is that it was closed because they were searching for something that had to do with a child pornography case. Supposedly there was an employee that they were looking for that had a laptop at the observatory that supposedly had, things on it that were not good. A federal search warrant was issued for the property of an observatory janitor that was hired about a year ago. And the warrant states that in July, federal agents began searching a child protection database and found child porn linked to an IP address at the observatory.
Right.
And so in August, they began talking to the chief observer at Sunspot, who said that he found a laptop running in several empty offices over the last few months and that there was stuff on it that was not good. So when they crossed all of the times that they said this was seen and all the employees that were there, it only matched up with one guy, and that was a janitor. So the janitor realized that his computer was missing after they moved it, and he started freaking out, and he started making comments about how there was a serial killer in the area, and he thought that he would break in. There was not very good security at the facility and somebody might get hurt. And people started getting really upset and scared. And that's why they did the evacuation, supposedly for the security of the people that worked there. This is the official statement. And so they did the search warrant. They had some items seized from the suspect's home, like a cell phone, laptops, things like that. And the documents also say that the observatory terminated its contract with that particular cleaning company, which was actually owned by the parents of this janitor that worked at the observatory.
Right.
So we don't know. I mean, it's still unclear why the entire area and not just the observatory was evacuated. Like, it didn't say why they thought they should evacuate the post office and the surrounding area also. But that is the official statement as to why it was evacuated in the first place, because they were searching for this janitor and for, the safety of the people that worked at the observatory.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's very strange, I think.
It's a strange story, but we've said something we can't go back on. If they actually give us a story, then it's probably, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times with the government, when they're covering something up, they will go, excuse me, I'm sorry, what was that? And they'll quickly like roll their middle finger up, right? They don't tell us crap if they don't want to tell us.
That's true. That's true.
And, so a lot of times the plane will go off radar. Somebody sees a plane vanish and go to Canada. You don't hear about it again, right?
Right.
But something crazy, that's almost such a nutty story.
It's so
that it sounds true.
It's so elaborate.
It just sounds stupid enough to be true.
It does. It does. I agree. And a lot of weird things. Like I said, there was a lot of weird things going on at the same time. Like, our friend had told us about the bad weather that was in the area. And I think I even saw an article around the same time in that same area of a body that was found like an hour away from the observatory, which doesn't have any connection to what happened there.
Wouldn't it be something if the janitor was actually a serial killer? And he was telling people, hey.
Right.
And the porn was actually somebody else's that was setting up the janitor. But because of them doing that, when they found the porn, they were like, oh, you know what I'm saying? They were like, oh crap, it's that janitor. It's that creepy janitor. And the janitor was actually a serial killer. So when this happened, it set this whole thing in motion. I just came up with a whole screenplay. Right.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
I'd
watch it.
Oh, thank you. I'm listen to this. So we're gonna buy it or sell it. All right.
Right.
I'm buying it. I'm buying the story. I believe the government on this one. Well, I believe that it's not something nefarious.
Right. Like, it might not be the whole truth, but I don't think it's anything like
there's something else to the reason,
or military,
because it's citizen volunteers, and the way it was described to us was that a lot of times it was like almost like not summer camp, but there's a lot of colleges, like you said, and a lot of interns and volunteers. That's citizens. That's not. Not military.
It's an open government facility where civilians work.
So they're not signing.
Exactly. There's no gates.
Right. They're not signing any agreements for confidentiality, right?
Exactly.
So, I guess I could go two ways. I guess I could go, well, they got everybody out of there. Right. Because of something they seen. But I don't know, man. This sounds way more credible.
It does. I agree. One of the strange thing that our friend sent us was, he was watching the news, his local news, because he's local to that area, and supposedly they had sent a crew up to the observatory to speak to the employees on the day that they went back to work, and supposedly it was a really good piece, but he said an employee stated that we were told to say we are happy to be back if anyone asks from the media. I don't think that's exactly how they were supposed to say it, but
well, that's weird.
Yeah, isn't that a weird way to put that? So I don't know.
That one that made that awkward.
Well, the whole thing's just weird. Like, the whole way it was handled seems very strange, but I'm with you. I mean, it seems credible. It seems credible.
All right. Well, let's put it to bed then.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about this story. This is just a quick thing that we saw on a video. We saw this interview with a man named Calvin Parker.
Yes.
Now, Calvin Parker and a friend of his, Charles Hickson, were part of a UFO abduction event back in 1973.
Yes.
And it was at the Pascagoula River.
Yes.
And it was very famous. When it happened in 1973, it actually was a huge media storm.
Right.
And they talked about it, and it was a big deal. Now, Calvin Parker, after it happened, he didn't really want to talk about it. So he quit talking about it. He actually moved several times and changed jobs and tried to stay away from all the media about it because it just made him feel weird to talk about it.
Right.
Now, Charles Hickson, who has actually passed away back in 2011, he wrote a book back then and he talked about it. He went under hypnosis. He, his story stuck to his story. They did lie detector tests. It was a big deal.
Right.
And he was always open about it. Well, recently, the reason that Calvin Parker is doing the interviews now is because he finally has decided 45 years later to tell his story. And he did write a book, and I guess it's just now come out on Amazon, and he's pushing it. But he said that his wife was like, you should just tell it.
Right.
It's just going to make you feel better to tell it. And it's really an amazing story. If you don't know about that particular abduction story, it's one that sounds very credible to me.
Oh, yeah,
They were fishing, and this craft came down. They went aboard. The aliens were not mean. I think in this case they were just looking at them, and they were trying, I guess, checking them out, and then just left them back at the river. And it wasn't, it was scary for them, but it wasn't. They weren't harmed in any way.
Right.
So it's a pretty interesting, and I'm going to link to this, and I'm going to actually link to an article that this same paper did with Hickson before he passed away. And his story was very in depth, and he even had x-rays that he showed him of a little piece of metal behind his eye that none of the doctors could figure out that he feels like was some sort of tracker, because he had actually several sightings and encounters with a UFO after that event happened in 1973.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's what happens. I will say this: the Fox News interview had the normal Men in Black thing at the first of it. It was maybe a minute and a half, and
right.
So the interviewer's more interested on the lie detector test than the story, and that's just you're going to get that with mainstream media. I mean, it's still, we're still not there, folks. I mean, we're close, but we're still not there where they feel like they have to start out with the and we're entering into the stupid season where they're going to call everybody that's in the paranormal or UFOs, and they're going to ask you to come on the weekday TV show,
the morning show, or whatever. Yeah,
we've done it. And they're going to want to talk to you, about the haunted season or whatever, which is fine. It's cool. It's just like I feel like the preacher on Easter.
Right.
That's what I feel like when I'm standing in the pulpit.
Right.
And I look out and there's 400 this Sunday, and normally we have 73.
Right.
And you're looking out and you're just like. Praise Jesus, everyone. Be nice. Oh, hey, Elmer. Nice to see you, buddy. How long's it been, Elmer? Oh, wait a second. I remember. It was last Easter.
No, you'd make a Christmas visit too.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I forgot
Easter
about
and Christmas.
that.
Easter and Christmas.
I would just call him out because I had a preacher when I was little. He would just call you out. Like, you didn't want to go. Like, I went every week. Because I was a good Southern boy. I'm a good Christian boy.
Right.
But I went every week, right? And Wednesday, you did too. Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. We had this preacher, this oh my God. And I remember not wanting to go on Easter because of how bad he would call people out. Like, he wouldn't say it by name.
Right.
But he would just look in their general direction, and he would do this. He would always be a sermon about how you shouldn't just come on Easter. And I used to think, maybe, perhaps, if you didn't guilt these people if you didn't walk out of church feeling like,
right, if you hadn't just been chastised for an hour,
like, if you didn't feel horrible when you walked out, maybe you might go back. Like, what if it was a pleasurable experience, If you came in there like, hey, happy Easter, everyone. Hallelujah. We're going to have all kinds of corn dogs and, whatever they have. The potato salad.
I remember one year, I guess it was a long time ago, and my sister and I had gone to church, with my parents. My sister was already out of the house, and she brought my nephew to church. He was just little.
Right.
I mean, he was little. And we were sitting there in the pew, and he just sat there, and he was coloring on a little program and doodling or whatever. He was just a little kid. And after, I don't know, 15 minutes of the sermon, he finally leaned over and he goes, "Mom." And she's like, "What?" And he goes, "Why is that preacher so angry?" He wasn't angry. He was up there doing it's a Baptist church. So he was up there doing his Southern Baptist, hellfire and brimstone. And boy, that little kid, he was just like, "Why is he so mad?"
If you're not used to it, if you're not used to it, that's going to happen. I tell you, we've talked before about the story, with my childhood and my mom and everything with the UFO. And, I know we've talked about that on the show before. So many years went by without her talking about it. And with me anyway.
Right.
And then she did. And I guess we went to go visit her last week. And the day after, she had gotten upset about it for whatever reason. And talking to her again, she every now and then gives a little bit more of a detail, So she was, giving details on how they looked and certain things, about not wanting to, about begging, about begging not to hurt us and to let us go and all this stuff. And just a few more details, but she has a full recollection of everything. I don't,
Right. You were very, very tiny.
Yeah, but my memory really matches up a lot. The memory that I guess was put there, or the memory that my repressed memory has safely given me. I believe the mind does that. I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
like
I've got
defense mechanism.
Yeah, I've got angels lifting me in the air,
right,
and talking sweet to me and everything. I mean, it's all happening the same way. But in my memory, which is not a dream, it was a memory. It's. I always thought it was angels back then. So it's very.
Well, that kind of leads into your whole Southern Christian church upbringing thing too.
Right.
That's what you would have. You were a kid. That's what you would have correlated that with.
It's just like the ancient astronaut theory. That's. They coined it. That's what they thought it was. That's what they were able to describe it as. And that's what they inked it as. Is the theory.
The thing about that I thought was interesting about this particular story that I'm going to link to, and your story that I thought was similar, is the Charlie Hickson, the man that has already passed on, the one that had several different sightings and talked about it and thought he was being tracked. I believe there's one part of his story where he said that one time he was close to a craft and he could hear them, like they were talking to him, and they were saying things to him like, we want to help you. You were chosen. We want to give you this information. And it made me, sounded very similar to your story.
That's what I was told.
And so, and it was a very...
I was told when I was being pulled in the air that I was special and that I was chosen and that, and I don't remember my mission. I remember them saying, we have a mission for you.
Well, with him, it was to tell people, basically, and that, that they were benevolent and they wanted to help and that sort of thing. I don't remember the exact words. It's in that article because it's not the main article. It's the one from 2002 that they did with Charles Hickson, but it's all in there. I wonder how frustrated
the aliens are that they've told all these people.
All the benevolent ones that want to help us. Like, we're trying to help you.
Yeah. Like maybe the pack they have. Here's what I think. Okay. Do you want my far out there?
Absolutely.
All right. This is like one of those things you can't talk about in a diner.
Right.
Because somebody's going to call the cops behind you.
Right.
All right. So I think that the reptilians are totally real.
Right.
I think that the hollow earth is real. I think that deep within the earth, a race of reptilian aliens live there. And I believe they've got high technology. Now, maybe they're not aliens. They're alien. They're looking to us, Maybe they were before us. Maybe somehow we're the aliens. And this is one of those whole hard things to, like, almost like an ant farm, or maybe we were on Mars at one time.
Right.
And this nice race of whatever helped us get to here. And, you know, Mars became inhospitable to human life or whatever. But I believe that these reptilians have a pact with the elite. And I believe, you know, I don't know if I believe in the whole shapeshifter thing that much, but we've heard some people very hardcore that did believe it. Okay.
Yes.
People that I believe it. We'll say it that way.
Right.
And, you know, and they've heard from credible people themselves. But at the very least, I believe there's some kind of pact. And it's, you know, call it satanic, call it demonic, call it whatever you will. I believe it's evil.
Right.
And I believe it's about controlling people, keeping everybody as slaves, because that's what we are.
Right.
We're all slaves in one way or another. And we're all controlled by a narrative that they put out there. And they sway everybody. They do. They sway everybody. And I believe that elite group comes up with everything and controls everything that's in with the reptilians. And that there is a benevolent race. And the reason they have to abduct us and, you know, whatnot, that they're trying to check on us. There's something they're preparing us for possibly, or, you know, they see coming or they know is coming, maybe, you know, little by little changing us, which we've seen things happen, even medical conditions with some children that has not always been there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, so I think that they have some kind of, like maybe they can't fight the people, the reptilians or whatever. Right. Or this other race of aliens, the evil ones. Right. Okay. So they have to do it the way they're doing it and kind of like grassroots spread the word. Right. Right. And
like a true rebellion.
Yeah. So anyway, and maybe that's all caca, and you know, maybe that's not the way it is. That's just a crazy theory, right? I would say, I said, do you want the crazy theory?
Yes. I did. I said I wanted it.
That's the crazy theory. That's not something that I believe so hard that I'm going to go out here screaming at them all.
Right.
You know,
right,
it's just one of those things that I've thought about because I could tell you this much. There was somebody the other day that I was seeing. It was a filmmaker. It was a filmmaker I like. And he makes paranormal films.
Okay.
And no names. I like the guy. He makes really good paranormal films.
Okay.
But he has a hard time believing the paranormal.
That's weird.
And well, it's fine. Skepticism or whatever. Some people I think that makes them cool.
Right.
Or makes people believe them more, right?
Right.
With me, it makes me think you are either very untalented
or closed-minded.
Or you just are a butthole. You know, a butthole. You know, you're not opening your eyes, like you said. You're closed-minded,
right?
So anyway, I mean, if you go into these same places we've been in and not have an experience, I don't understand. I have a hard time buying it. You know, we have friends that are so closed-minded though that they could be in the most haunted place in the world and not feel anything because they don't want to. So maybe there is something to that.
I mean, maybe.
You know, maybe if you don't want to see it, then there's a rule with the other side that you're not going to see it. Yeah. But the only thing that destroys all that is our first experience. So no matter what else has happened to us and no matter what else I've seen, and I've seen physical manipulation, I've seen multiple full-bodied apparitions.
Well, let me tell you the difference. I think I know the difference between that. With us, we had never seen anything before, but we didn't have a specific skeptical wall built up against it. Like, we weren't closed-minded to it. We just never seen anything.
Right.
I think some people are so skeptical of it that they actually, you know, build a wall, like actually block themselves off from anything that could happen, you know, paranormally.
Well, I mean, it's the whole thing of what I believe and the reason I believe it. And it is frustrating. And it's frustrating, and it's the reason I listen to people so much. I listen to your story. Because it could be the truth.
It could be.
The possibility is there. I know that something strange happened to me as a child. And I know that it would bring my mother nothing but ridicule to make that story up. But I also had a memory, and I didn't know that story my entire life. So that fit that together for me. But I've had other encounters throughout my adult life on that end of things, right? So I believe in UFOs, okay?
Right.
I believe that rational thinkers would find it hard to imagine a universe that didn't have more intelligent life.
Right.
Just from the sheer number of Goldilocks planets and whatnot. On the paranormal, I can't see it any other way. I can't, there's no way I could ever see it any other way.
Right.
Just from if you just took the first experience, if you only took that first experience, how could you ever, and some people sometimes when I'm talking to them, they're like, hey, do you believe that show? Do you buy that? That's one of the biggest questions. Do you buy that show? They find out, what we do, or
Right.
they already know what we do. And they always want to talk about stuff like that. Like, maybe you guys are real, but that old stuff on Ghosted Men, that's all fake, right? I'm like, no. If there was one that was fake, it was probably, if there was one that was going to be fake, it was the one I was on, and it wasn't fake.
Right.
Know, I'm not saying that nobody never has, because I know producers.
Right.
And producers do that stuff. But the evidence that's gathered is exactly the same evidence that we've had. I mean, it's all stuff that we've got, Class A stuff that we've got. And, it's just, the world is so mysterious and incredible. The universe is so incredible. You really never know what's going to happen. And I can't imagine living in such a closed environment.
Right.
That you don't just sit sometimes in your living room like we do. Seriously. And hear something and look at and the whole family looks at each other and is like, did you hear that? Did you hear it? I heard it. Did you? Yeah, I heard it. Or did you see that light? Yeah, I did. It was right over her head. Yeah. That white one? Yes. And it moved. Yeah, it went right into her neck. I mean, that stuff happens to us all the time, And I can't imagine living in a world where we didn't expect something wonderful to possibly happen every day. I think it gives you a little bit of comfort. I don't know. It's just cool. Open your minds, people. Of course, the people listening to this have their minds open.
Yes, they do. They do. All right. So I will link to those stories. Definitely read those. They're very cool. All right. So let's go on to our next story. And this is from Arkansas.
Oh, is it about Walmart?
No, it isn't.
Oh, is it about the Clintons then?
No, it's not about the Clintons.
Well, then, I mean, what else is there in Arkansas?
Well, there's Midway, Arkansas.
Oh, Midway, Arkansas. Of course.
Of course.
I have to be careful now because we have listeners everywhere. And,
right.
Just like that California town. I said something about the airport.
Oh, that's right. And then they corrected us on how to say it. One
of our good listeners.
Yes.
No, not that we have bad listeners.
No, of course not.
The bad listener right now is listening and going, you see, I knew you didn't know. I hope he's like twisting his mustache.
I knew you were going to say that.
Snidely.
All right. Well, this is a strange mystery that has gripped the town in Arkansas after a resident discovered a flaming hole near his property. And no one knows how it was created.
Why is that funny?
I don't know, because I said flaming hole. I don't know. It's just funny. That's what's in the article. They also call it a fiery chasm. This is a very flowery language in this article. So it's in the town of Midway.
Yeah, it's where you established
and that. The witness called the local fire department, who dispatched a team to investigate the situation.
You can't call the chasm patrol.
So when the fire department arrived, the fire chief, his name's Donald Tucker, he said...
Is that relevant?
They talked to him, so I just thought I'd give his name. There were flames 8 or 9 feet high shooting out of this hole that was only 2 feet in diameter.
Wow.
And they couldn't figure out how this hole was made, and it took...
Were they roasting a pig on it by then?
No, it lasted for about 45 minutes before it finally extinguished on its own. So then they tried to determine what was going on. So they investigated the hole, and it was about 3 feet deep, but then it took a 45-degree turn at the bottom, which is very strange.
Yeah, that's...
And after the fire had gone out...
The Lagina brothers are probably on their way now.
Probably. After the fire had gone out, Tucker took a reading of the temperature inside the hole, and it registered 780 degrees.
Holy crap.
Yes. So they investigated the area around this site, but there weren't any natural gas lines, and the utility companies said it had nothing to do with them. Like, there was absolutely no explanation for this weird hole with the 45-degree turn that was so hot that burned with this shooting flame for 45 minutes. I mean, it's just a mystery. So there was a theory going around that perhaps it was some kind of lightning strike or maybe a meteorite or something, but some geologists, some expert geologists, whatever, claim that that's not really a plausible explanation. And I don't think it could be a meteorite if it actually took like a turn underground. That just doesn't make any sense.
Be really cool though.
So it's a mystery. I mean, they're completely baffled. They have no idea.
Reptilians.
And there's actually pictures on the article. It's a picture of the hole and all that. So it's very crazy. What do you think did it? 3 feet down, 45-degree turn, flames.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I don't even have like a speculation about that. That just is the strangest thing I've ever heard.
Satanic meerkat. I just don't know. I don't know what it could be.
I have no idea. I'm going to keep trying to look for updates for that, but
it's like the next level fire ants. So,
the big 2 foot wide ones.
Yeah, they took it literal. I don't know, man. Is it hell?
I mean, it only goes 3 feet down. I certainly hope not. That'd be awful close to the surface.
It's hell for very tiny people. I don't know.
I don't know. It's a strange story, so I'll definitely check that one out.
I think it's man-made.
You think so?
I mean, I think they've done something.
Somebody's done something. Yeah. They're just not owning up to it.
Yeah, I mean, would you?
No, absolutely not.
Some kids got all kinds of like chemicals and crap and buried them in the yard and set them on fire. I don't know. I mean,
that's probably what it is, but who knows? Who knows? It's very strange.
I mean, I would never tell. It's like shooting BBs at car windows. I mean, you got to keep that stuff to. There's kid code there. You can't tell anybody.
Kid code.
It's a real thing, man.
Yeah, I know. All right, well, let's move on to this next. This is a really strange story. It's kind of a mystery.
That last one's strange. I'm still thinking about it.
It was. So this is about a woman who has been tormented with her 2 young children on a nightly basis.
Well, I know how it feels.
Woken up by this tinny rendition of a nursery rhyme, of kids singing a nursery rhyme.
Oh,
it's raining,
she wasn't tormented by her kids.
No.
Oh.
No, her and her kids.
Oh. I was gonna be like, yeah.
I mean, maybe she's tormented by her kids. I don't know. So for almost a year now,
right,
almost every night she would hear this weird sing-songy child nursery rhyme, and it was very creepy. And for a long time she thought maybe she was just going crazy. In this article there's actually a soundbite of it. I'm going to play it for you real quick.
That's really strange. That's so creepy. I mean, I just can't imagine. A nursery rhyme is bad enough.
So that's what she would wake up to hear outside of her house.
Okay, so where was it coming from?
It went on for months and months and months, and she couldn't figure it out. So finally, she reported it to the Ipswich Borough Council.
Right.
Okay, and because she was like, why am I living with this? I need someone to investigate it. So they told her, they took her seriously, and they said, look, if you hear it again, call us, and we'll send some people out. We'll try to figure it out. So,
but that was drawing straws.
Well, a couple times she would call, but by the time they got out there, they couldn't. It was gone.
Oh, how frustrating.
So finally, one night about midnight, it started. And so she called them. And their team rushed out there, and they could still hear it. And so they finally tracked it down to an industrial premises on a neighboring road where the music was playing through a loudspeaker. And so a spokesman for that site said that it was part of their security system, that it was supposed to deter thieves that came onto the property, and it was triggered by motion sensors. So middle of the night, thieves walk up to this industrial place, trigger a motion sensor, that would play, and it was supposed to scare them away. And they thought that it was only loud enough to be heard in their property. They didn't realize that it was so loud. So what was happening is spiders were crawling over the motion sensors and building webs over them. So sometimes the music would play all night long, and sometimes it would be once, and sometimes it would be twice. It was just super random, but it was so creepy. And so,
oh God!
So they finally figured it out. So the people at the industrial place were really sorry, and they're like, "We are so sorry."
No, sue them.
Well,
sue them.
They're going to keep it, but what they did was they called her and they set the volume so that it wasn't loud enough for her to hear on her property. But she was just relieved because she thought she was going insane.
No, that is cruel and unusual.
I mean, she said it was terrifying. It would be terrifying if you just woke up and you heard that outside.
Oh my God,
That's like a horror movie.
I can't imagine how crazy you would be. Oh my God, you would be so nuts. I can hear you calling me now. I can hear you. Oh, you'd be like, John, honey, tell me. No, just shut up. Tell me if you hear this. You know, you're like, no, baby, I don't.
Well, and because it was so random too, like sometimes it would just be once, and then sometimes it would be a lot. So I thought that was a really funny, just creepy paranormal mystery that turned out to not be paranormal.
Yeah, very Scooby-Doo.
But it was very interesting.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on to our next story, and this is about an odd animal die-off, more birds that died in a very mysterious way. So this is the Canadian Wildlife Service is investigating what they call a mortality event, where dozens of birds just fell from the sky in Sawasson, British Columbia. And people actually witnessed this happening. And one of the witnesses said that, he was like driving along and the birds were flying. They're starlings and they were flying in the air and they were just doing their normal, flying in a group back and forth and loop-de-loops. And then they just nosedived and hit the ground.
Maybe it's suicide.
Every single one of them died. It's what it looked like. They said it's what it looked like. And another witness said it, it reminded him of that Alfred Hitchcock movie, The Birds. And it was unreal to see that they tried to help, but there was no survivors. And it was just the strangest thing they'd ever seen. Just all of a sudden.
How'd they try to help?
They got out to see if any of the birds were still alive.
I thought while they were falling.
No.
I was like,
they ran around with buckets and they were trying. It was like a video game. They were trying to
I was just thinking, screw you, bird. I mean, that's creepy. I'm not going to go out and put my...
It was very strange. And so I think the official explanation is perhaps...
Did they leave a note? Or
there were little suicide notes, yes, tacked to the trees a mile away.
They're wearing the same kind of sneakers.
That it was probably because of the bad weather and they were hungry and they just petered out in the mid-flight. But
that's a medical term?
No, it seems weird to me that it would all happen at the exact same time.
Well, Cliff.
Exact same time.
Seems like we got a case of petering out. It's a really shame when it happens. It's where do you think that began at? Where do you think petered at? Do you think there was like a Peter that ran and in the early days of track and it's just like, oh God, I can't do it anymore. Oh, come on, Peter.
I don't know where that saying
petering
comes
out
from.
again, or I mean, it could be even worse. The first thing that pops in my mind when someone says peter out, I mean, there's
let's not go into that explanation.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I hear that stuff and it's just like, I wonder where that came from. I really do.
I can see that you are overly emotional about the birds, so we'll move on.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
We'll move on to the next story.
Sorry.
This actually is one that you'll be kind of passionate about, and this is about the woolly mammoths.
Yeah.
And this article is about the scientists, the Russian scientists that say that woolly mammoths are going to roam a new, quote, Jurassic Park-style theme park, along with these other species that they want to bring back, cave lions, because that sounds like a good idea, and extinct horses. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a good idea, because won't the cave lions just eat the horses? Maybe. I don't know.
Depends how big the horses is.
So they're saying that in less than 10 years, it's hoped that these woolly mammoths and these cave lions and extinct horses will all be reborn, and they have this area in Siberia where they want to let them roam free. In like this Jurassic Park style thing.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this is a good idea.
No. You know, I back in my musical days, I'm just basically a poet. And my whole life I wrote poetry.
Yes.
A lot of that poetry dealt with cloning.
It did.
And my hatred for cloning. My question of, is there a soul? You know, in human clones. You know, there's a lot of ethical questions there, right? And there's a lot of questions about bringing a life form of any type. And, you know, I mean, this is dangerous. And it's just not right. And if they're doing it with woolly mammoths, you know that they're doing it with other things.
Yeah, well, it says in here all the ones that they want to do: the woolly mammoth, the woolly rhinoceros, the cave lion, and breeds of long gone horses. But I believe you're speaking of humans.
Yes.
Not just animals. Yes.
I think it's already done.
I mean,
I think it's been done.
They had to get the technology somewhere.
If they can make a woolly mammoth, okay, they have a lot better samples to use for humans.
Well, here's the thing that I don't understand about it, because they don't have the full woolly mammoth DNA. They have to actually mix in some elephant DNA to complete that strand. So it's not really going to be a full-on woolly mammoth.
That's why
it's going to be something new.
That's why we don't have a T-Rex, right? They don't have actual DNA. Don't last that long, or they don't.
Well, you can't. I think it misses pieces, and you have to fill that in
because they get it in amber or whatever, like Jurassic Park.
Well, these are found in the permafrost.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah, and so I think the whole point of this is that they want to actually make a world-class paleogenetics scientific center in this area, since Siberia is where they find a lot of these samples, and they want to make this new research center, and they want to do all this with the woolly mammoth and the theme park. And I believe they actually said that further details will be unveiled next month when Vladimir Putin hosts a major investment forum. So this is something they really want to go forward with.
So I want to know this. How do we have animals go extinct? We've got endangered species list, right?
Right.
If you're going to do it, why not work on that list?
Right. And,
You know what I'm saying?
Save something we already know what it is.
Yeah.
We have the DNA for it. Right. I gotcha.
Right.
I don't know, because it's weird, because then you would have to do some kind of testing on animals that are protected from things like that because they're endangered.
I guess.
I don't know. I don't like the whole idea of it. If those animals are extinct, then there's obviously a reason for that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should be bringing them back.
Right.
So.
No.
All right. So let's move on.
It's just terrible.
I know you're very passionate about that.
I'm trying not to do it.
I know.
I'm trying not to do it, but I mean, you bring that to me on a full moon.
Well, let's move on to something that's kind of an update. All right. So this is an update onto, do you remember when we did the story about the serial cat killer?
Yes.
And all the missing cats.
Yes.
And they were claiming to call it the Croydon cat killer and the M25 cat killers, all these names for it. And we talked all about it.
I remember.
And hundreds of cats
have gone missing. Nick Redfern even had some stories on it and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So this new article has come out saying that the Metropolitan Police have announced that the serial cat killer is indeed foxes.
Oh my God.
And they're closing the case on this serial cat killer after years and years and tons of money and lots of time spent on this. They've decided that the most probable culprit is a fox or foxes, and that's it. Done.
So did they catch the foxes?
No.
Are they going to serve time?
So what has happened is, supposedly, the vet that carried out some of the post-mortem examinations of some of these suspicious cat deaths has, quote, reassessed his findings and decided that they weren't human involvement, that in fact there were some things that he missed the first time, and it was indeed
fox bites,
foxes. And they did have 2 different cats that they studied that had some fox DNA on it, and they found 3 CCTV footage of foxes carrying cats off. So because they found 3 clips of a fox carrying a cat away and a couple of, fox DNA on a few different cats,
dude,
obviously all hundreds of these cats were killed by foxes and the case closed.
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird?
I mean, how big are these foxes? That's what I'm trying to think. How small are the cats?
Well, and I'll link to this. I remember when we talked about this before, we talked about this particular group that was really heading up this, they had a map and they were keeping track of where all the cats were going missing. And it's a Facebook page and you can, contact them for support. They're really upset. They're like, that's bull. We don't believe that at all. Why would he all of a sudden just reassess his findings? That's just very strange. And so they had reported about different cases where, someone was going around nailing cats to trees and, putting them in bags on doorsteps and stuff. And, do foxes do that?
Talented fox.
I mean, that's very strange. And, I think maybe it wasn't all the same person. That if somebody was, I'm sure some of these cat disappearances were animal related. I'm not saying that they weren't, but I do feel like that somebody did do some of this stuff, and maybe there were copycats out there, and they're just trying to dissuade the copycat killers from continuing the trend. It is getting to be close to Halloween.
Yes.
And you get a lot of that black cat stuff.
Oh, you do, yeah.
Around that time of year. But I don't think they should have closed the case. I guess maybe they felt like they spent a lot of money on this. They've spent a lot of money and a lot of time. So obviously somebody in budgeting was like, I'm sorry, you spent how much on cat autopsies? I mean, how many man hours did we put on that? We got to close this down.
Yeah.
It's the fox. I think the fox is being wrongly accused. So on the same little thread, we actually got this story sent to us from one of our Twitter followers, one of our loyal Twitter followers. He had tweeted this a couple weeks ago, and it kind of goes along with this other story, so I wanted to put it in here. And it's about some cats that had been killed in a Mesa neighborhood. Oh. And so far, they found 5 different cats. And the circumstances are very strange. Like, most of the cats are completely cut in half and in different places.
Okay.
Yeah, which is really,
it's like
really
a saber-tooth
strange.
Fox.
And there's like not a lot of blood, not a lot of trauma, just separated cat.
Oh, there's a lot of trauma.
Different places. So the first 2 cats were both cut in half and dropped off, in odd places. And now there have been 3 more, and nobody can figure out what's going on with them. Somebody claimed that perhaps they had seen a coyote in the area. Right. But it doesn't line up with an animal. Like, the cat's not torn apart. It's not been carried away. It's not been eaten. They're just dead. And it's very strange. One of the cats was found partially inside a plastic bag. But of course, I hear that's how, coyotes and foxes take their leftovers home in plastic bags. So, basically, they have no idea. They've put a number on here in case you've seen a wild animal in your neighborhood. But it's just a very strange thing going on with cats. I don't understand. People have something against cats.
It's very weird.
It is very strange. All right, so let's move on. This story is about a string of bad luck that the rap artist Post Malone is having that might have something to do with a very haunted object. Oh. So Post Malone recently visited the Haunted Museum owned by Zach Bagans. Yes. And we do happen to know that Zach Bagans owns the world's most haunted object. Right. The Dybbuk box. The Dybbuk box. The one that inspired your favorite movie, The Possession.
Don't open the Dybbuk box.
So
it's an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, shame. We all know your name. It's got Negan in it, and he's just ballistic.
You mean John Winchester?
I do mean Negan, actually. He's like John Negan in that movie. Great movie though. Great movie. Yes. And Post was actually on an episode of Ghost Adventures.
He was. He did the Slaughterhouse.
The Slaughterhouse, really freaky place.
It's a really good episode. They got a lot of stuff there.
It's freaky. A lot of relevant stuff. Very relevant to what they were doing. Which you love episodes that show things like that. I remember they kept getting the word cattle.
Yes, cow and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they were in the slaughterhouse.
Well, this particular video clip was posted by TMZ, and it's just a clip, I guess, was taken from a security camera from the Haunted Museum. It shows Zach and Post going into the room where the Dybbuk box is held. And normally it's in a case, like it has a protective case. But for some reason, that case was off. They didn't say why. And in the clip, you can see that Zach is touching the Dybbuk box. And Post touches Zach's shoulder while he's touching the Dybbuk box.
To tell him, like, come on, man.
Yeah, and he was really freaked out. He could tell, like, there's no sound on the video, but you could tell that he wanted to get out of the room.
Right.
That he wanted to leave. So, since he was there and was around the Dybbuk box, he's had some terrible luck. First, his plane blew a couple tires on takeoff, and they had to do an emergency landing.
Wow.
That really freaked him out. Then he had a car accident in his Rolls Royce, and I think his Rolls Royce was just destroyed.
Yeah, like $200,000.
Yeah, it was very expensive. And then to top it all off, a home that he owned was broken into. It turns out he was not living there at the time, but the people that broke in thought he was.
Yeah.
So all these terrible things happened.
It's a high-speed auto crash, too.
Yes.
And like you said, the robbers were like, hey, it's Post here, you know.
Yeah, so all of these things has happened to him since then. They're all could have possibly been life-threatening.
Yeah, they could have killed him.
Yes, and so, people are saying, well, it could possibly be a curse from being too close to this cursed object. And, we were talking about when we saw him on that episode, how it seemed he was very susceptible to what was going on. Because some people are just more susceptible to that stuff.
You can just tell. People are some people are just antennas. And right off the bat, we were like, yeah, we pegged him because we've just been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And then as the episode goes on, you see it. He's like, he was the one hearing stuff. He was the one getting the information. And
they even gave him the equipment to hold because they could tell that he was the one getting the activity. So,
and I mean, that's just, we've seen that happen. I mean, because it's me when we're on an investigation or something. There's always like that one person that sort of gets it, quite a bit. And he's a young kid too. I mean, he's like 23 or something, 23, 24. So he's got a lot of energy, a lot of, the lights there, Right.
He was a bit nervous too.
Oh yeah. And that
fear thing plays into it.
Yeah, it definitely plays into it. But, freaking Dybbuk box. I mean, we've had our own experience with the Dybbuk box.
We have.
The Dybbuk box we had experience with also has made its way on TV. It was on a few shows, and had quite a story behind it. And, I touched it. I mean, just probably a really stupid thing on my part.
Right.
But I touched it in trying to gain evidence. I mean, I'm always like trying to push the boundaries to get more stuff. And in my opinion, if I have, the problem is like that when we had other people there who were not paranormal investigators. When I'm putting on a show, I want to bring Bizzlebub out to dance.
Exactly.
And that's just who I am. I'm a performer. I'm an investigator, but there's a big part of me that my whole life has been a performer.
Right.
So I'm always performing, and I always want to entertain people. And it really bothers me when people aren't being entertained. And, a lot of people can't understand that. So when I see somebody in a room, man, I can feel it. I can feel if you're not feeling me, if you're not getting my story, I know. I just know. And it bothers me. So I'll turn it up. I'll turn it down. I'll turn it left. I'll turn it right. I'll get you hooked. Right. Because I want you hooked on my story. I want you hooked on me. I want to be entertaining you. Right. So when I'm on a ghost hunt, if I'm with you, we're business as can be. Right. If I have somebody with us, and I can just feel that feeling they get, because they don't understand that we're there for 14 hours and maybe get 5 seconds of evidence. Right. So when they're there, I feel like, I need to do this. And so I wanted to ramp it up, and they were like, you're not going to touch it, and at first I was being safe, and because, I'm me, right? So they're like, oh, you're not going to touch it? Yeah, okay.
I'm pretty sure the last thing I said before you went down there was, don't touch the Dybbuk box.
Yeah, well, it messed me up. It messed me up, guys, really bad. And, it
for a while.
What's a crazy thing is now knowing some stuff I got going on with my back, nothing that can't be fixed, but just full disclosure, I got some bulging disc, several, and some stuff like that. You know, I don't know how much manipulation that would take,
right,
to mess with.
Probably not much.
But I got to a point where I couldn't. It's like my biggest fear too. Like if you're watching Charmed,
right,
and that one demon that gets your biggest fear.
Yes, that preys on your biggest fear.
So years ago, when I was just a youngin', when I was in my 20s, early 20s, me and Stacy were living down in Charlotte, and I was a strong buff. I mean, not that I'm not strong and buff now, but I mean, I was etched at the time.
Right.
That's my word. I was etched. And I would, I was a kid that was carrying around, washers and dryers over his head and stuff just for fun. But something happened to my back, actually. And then the job I had to I was actually a manager, but I fired my crew. So I had to deliver some side-by-side refrigerators and stuff and all this stuff. And anyway, I was doing it by myself, and something went wrong with my back. And it was my lower back. And I had to use my hands and pull myself into the truck. And I took my work truck to home and got Stacy to help me, and I could not walk. I could not go to the bathroom. I could not move my lower half. It was so bad. The pain was so intense. It was just an ungodly pain that I've never felt ever anything close to that pain. So I've always had this fear about going back to that, and about not being able to move for 3 weeks or something. And so it's just a fear, and it felt like it. That's what it felt like. It felt like when I touched it. Number one, I don't remember anything right then, and that just happened. It happened. I don't remember anything that happened right then, but I do have a memory coming out of it, laying on the floor, and I was in the room, like upstairs, and my back was just destroyed. It was just killing me, and it felt like that. And I was trying to get Stacy, and the people we were with, I guess they didn't get it or whatever, no heat on that or anything. I'm just saying, I don't think they understood.
Right.
Or something was preventing them from understanding the way that I needed them to understand. Me and Stacy are so close. We're not like, I don't know. I don't want to say we're not like any couple, but we're very close. And two halves of a whole. And so I needed Stacy, and I couldn't get her, and it was really bad. It was another fear. So I needed to get out of the building. So I get out of the building, and I make it to my truck just to turn the seat heater on, and pull myself up in the thing, and it was really rough. Finally, she comes out. I was messed up for days. Actually, the next day is when the damn dead squirrels were outside the house and stuff. That's when all that started. And that was just because, they were like, hey, people don't like, it doesn't like, they were like, he doesn't like you to touch it or whatever.
Or act like it's not what it is.
Like not, yeah, exactly. And that's what I did. And so I'm just saying on a different level, absolutely, we've seen curses several times, and they seem to work. Could it be that? Yes. Could it be a string of bad luck? Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. But if he believes it's a curse, then it could very well be one.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Just crazy story.
It is.
3 crazy things, man.
Well, hopefully that's it, though. Hopefully the 3, and then that's it.
Don't go scuba diving.
No.
Well,
normally things happen in 3s like that. So hopefully he won't have any more bad luck, and he'll just turn it around.
Yeah, especially since it's out now. Since people have talked about it, I think that could almost turn it around, because, if there's something doing that,
right,
it more than likely wouldn't want to, to get to that level. So.
Well, and I suppose it's all in the way you look at it too, because, he did have the plane trouble, but I think I read that he bought a yacht instead. Maybe he always wanted a yacht, and he, his car got destroyed, but he bought a bigger one. And, his house was broken into, but he wasn't living there. So maybe it's just how you look at it.
Yeah. I mean, it always is, right?
It's all about perspective.
There you go. The lucky box.
All right. Well, let's talk about another star.
Okay.
That was in the news recently. And this is about Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, wow.
I love her.
Yes.
And she reportedly hired a psychic to contact Princess Margaret for a role that she's playing.
Oh, wow.
And so they've done this article about it because she's very eccentric.
Yes.
And, she played Bellatrix Lestrange, in Harry Potter. And she was in, of course, she was married to Tim Burton for a while. And so she was in a lot of his things.
She's in a ton of movies.
So right now she is playing Princess Margaret in the royal drama The Crown. And she wanted to get really close to her part. And she is known to do things like this.
Right.
And so she asked a psychic that she knows that she's actually asked for help from before. I believe that she played Elizabeth Taylor in a BBC drama, and she had asked the same psychic to help her consult and just to get a better idea of the character, because that's how she is. But the way she met this psychic is she had her come to de-ghost her house. So she's very open to the supernatural. And I just thought this was a really cool article. You can read all about it, about how she, uses that as one way to get closer to her roles. It doesn't say whether they actually got a lot of contact or how that worked out, but whatever she has to do, I suppose, to prepare.
No, I love it
for her roles. I guess. I mean, she does a very good job. So
yeah, no, I love it. That's cool. It always makes me happy when I hear about people that take it serious.
Yes. Well, I have a few more stories for you here that I'm going to throw out to you. So this one, since we're on the theme of celebrities. This is just an article. It's very strange. Apparently, Beyonce's former drummer, Kimberly Thompson, has accused her of, quote, extreme witchcraft.
Ooh, the extreme witchcraft.
Yes, not just regular witchcraft.
That's like where you have the more streamlined broom and you do the 360 half pike.
Exactly. Well, this drummer, Kimberly Thompson, she actually worked as Beyonce's drummer for like 7 years.
Wow.
And now she has gone to a court and has asked for a restraining order against Beyonce because she alleges that she's involved in dark magic and magic spells of sexual molestation.
Wow.
That's a hardcore accusation there.
I believe it.
She believes that she is using her witchcraft to do things like tap her phone and control her finances and scare away her lovers and just control her. And she wanted a restraining order, which of course the court actually denied
because of the witchcraft, honestly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly, because of the witchcraft. Well, I guess the way she wrote it on the paper, it made it sound very crazy.
Right.
So they denied her the restraining order. It doesn't in this article go into any reasons why she thinks Beyonce would come after her like that. She doesn't obviously work for her anymore.
That's the reason. She knows.
I thought this was interesting because of all the conspiracy theories that go around about Beyonce and Jay-Z and, the elite and all of those things, that makes this kind of a credible.
Well, this past year, a lot of conspiracy theories that have been in the shadows for a decade or decades have really come to light. There's been a lot of talk about it. There's been a lot of accusations. There's been a lot of videos about some of the practices, some of the bloodletting and some of the spirit cooking and, and all this stuff and how it all goes back. And even with the pedo stuff. It's not a rabbit hole you want to go down.
No, absolutely not.
But I will say this, okay? I am a firm believer in smoke and fire.
Right.
I'm not saying what the fire is, but there is smoke. It's a big accusation. Okay, so you got to think she's nowhere near as powerful as Beyonce.
Right.
And she's coming out of this. Now she obviously was well of mind enough to be a drummer, which is it's hard to, I've met a lot of crazy drummers though. So, in fact, that's probably the craziest position of any band is the drummer. But, regardless, she carried on a professional gig, right?
Right.
Very demanding professional gig, for quite a while, 7 years. So, coming out of that, you've been inside the cabal, right? You've been inside the gates and you're to be that terrified where you're going to tear down and have people make fun of you and ridicule you because of what you're saying about extreme witchcraft and all the stuff that's going on.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't call it witchcraft. I call it other stuff. I mean, there is dark witchcraft.
If you were going to come out, if you thought someone was spying on you and controlling you in some way, you wouldn't just jump to witchcraft. You would say, if you wanted a restraining order on somebody, why would you say witchcraft if that's not what you meant? No,
she's coming out with the truth, I believe. I mean, I just there's a lot of crazy stuff.
Crazy things.
They go over from music. I mean, they're a celebrity. You know, that's not
absolutely. Well, this article that I have is actually a Newsweek article, but the original article I believe was on this website called The Blast. And if you go to that article, there's actually these clips of pictures of the application for the restraining order where she was writing down all the reasons. And I do want to say that none of this has been proven or confirmed. This is just what the drummer is saying. But in that list, they highlighted the thing about witchcraft, and they highlighted this thing where it said that supposedly Beyonce killed her pet kitten or something like that. But in the middle of all of those listings, there is one that says extreme theft of intellectual properties. So that led me to believe that she felt like maybe some of her ideas had been used and she didn't get credit, and she feels very wronged. So I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Boy, can I sue people for that?
I don't know. She's not really suing her.
Holy cow.
She actually is applying for a restraining order.
Yeah, which you should grant, right? Why wouldn't you grant that? I'm just saying.
I don't know. I mean, if it's just a restraining order, why wouldn't? It's not hurting anybody. I guess because it would look bad on Beyonce.
Yeah, maybe. but listen. If the girl's crazy or whatever, if it makes her feel better.
Right.
If you're Beyonce, be the bigger person, right? And be like, look, this chick's crazy. I mean, she would look a lot better. This chick's crazy. You get your restraining order. I don't need to be around you anyway, honey. I need a restraining order from you. So, no, I'm just saying.
I agree with you. Yes.
And so the fact that they, if they can control this, they're going to control the narrative. They're going to make her look crazy. They're going to keep
They're going to make her look crazy. That's it.
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
I don't know. A lot of weird stuff about that story, like things that just don't add up.
Yeah, makes you want to listen to Panic at the Disco song again, don't it?
All right, so let's move on. So here's just kind of a fun, quirky story about the lottery. And this is the Connecticut Lottery that in the month of September has now had its fourth single-digit winner. It's very strange. It's like a play 3. And 4 times this month it has come up with the same digit. Twice it's been 999. Yeah,
which really freaks me out.
Yes, one time it was 000, and most recently it was 777.
Yeah, even 777's kind of.
Yeah.
But the 999 obviously.
Yes, and the fact that it came up twice.
Yeah.
In 2 days in a row.
I mean, it's just weird. Okay,
it is weird.
Obviously, it can happen.
Right.
But having that much in 1 month.
Yeah. What are the odds?
So I'm sure they'll give you those odds. If I'm surprised they're not listed there. What the odds of that happening are, but the odds of them happening in the same month. And even 2 that were 999.
2 days in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you start looking for a glitch at that point?
I start looking for Satan. But Satan hanging upside down.
Exactly.
I don't know, man.
It's
that's
signs. It's all signs. That was a sign for somebody. I hope they got it.
I hope so too.
Because it seems important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that wasn't any kind of paranormal story. That's just something I seen.
It was very weird.
And I was like, that's not right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we report on the weird things too.
Yeah.
All right. So last story, and this is kind of a Halloween themed story, a little early for a Halloween themed story, but we're going to do it anyway. This is the Six Flags in St. Louis, and they're holding a contest on October 13th.
Oh.
To see who, if anyone, can remain in a tight coffin for 30 hours.
Well, I'm out.
So they are offering a prize for anyone who can stay in the coffin for almost 30 straight hours in a row. The way it works, it's called the Fright Fest 30-Hour Coffin Challenge, but they are actually going to give you bathroom breaks. You get to get out of the coffin to use the bathroom. Not only that, you are allowed to bring pillow and blankets to be more comfortable in your coffin. And cell phones are allowed, as phone charging stations will be provided for possible use within the coffin. So basically, you're going to lay in a little box for 30 hours and play games on your phone and sleep with a comfy pillow and a blankie to win a prize.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not begging me just to take you. You'd be like
30 hours with no one bothering me for a while. Well, anyone that wants to join, you just have to go on the website and you have to fill out an application to do the contest. You have to be 18 years old, and if you win, everybody that is able to stay in the coffins for 30 hours will be placed in a drawing for a $300 prize. Unless there's only one winner, then of course that winner gets.
Is it worth it?
$300. Well, you also get 2 2019 Gold Season passes to Six Flags, a Fright Fest prize package, 2 VIP haunted house passes, and a ticket for 2 to ride the Freak Train for Freak Unleashed.
I've been riding the Freak Train for a long time. Hashtag want me to
And they'll give you the coffin if you wish.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
So, I mean, coffins are expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost worth it to take home the coffin.
You're so thrifty.
So anyone that's in the St. Louis area, you're going to be at Six Flags in St. Louis on October 13th, and you want to take part in the Fright Fest 30-hour coffin challenge. There's a link on the website for you to go check it out. And I'd be interested to hear how that goes. You can bring a friend, by the way. Here's my thought. It says you can bring a friend that can sit. They can't be in the coffin with you, but they can sit there. But they have to sit there like after hours, after the park's closed. I would be more afraid to sit outside the coffin where you can see and hear everything that's going on in this
an amusement park.
Yeah,
yeah.
In a shut down amusement park. I'd rather
shut down amusement parks are creepy.
I'd rather be in the coffin.
They're just really,
with my cell phone.
They're just really, really creepy. I don't know why. I think it's because of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. I don't know.
Possibly. But it doesn't say. I mean, I guess you could be watching some Netflix. You could be streaming some. You
go Netflix and chill in the funeral home there.
Hey, I'm kind of small. I could fit in a coffin and still have room to wiggle around.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't eat or drink anything, I probably wouldn't even have to get out and pee.
Wow. 30 hours, you think?
No, I'd have to use the bathroom. I couldn't get along without eating or drinking anything.
I could do the eating and drinking. I just don't think I could go that long without peeing.
That's true. You'd just be like, cut a hole here inside the coffin for me. I'd be good.
That'd be neat. I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. I couldn't do it because of the claustrophobic.
Of the tight space. Yeah. I'm sure that's probably hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, but it's an interesting challenge if you feel like being up for it, I guess.
I don't know.
Halloween themed.
It's pretty cool though. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, we had some weird, we had some fun, we had some groovy as well, and even a little bit of Divic Box, some funny stories, and some good stuff like that. So, full moon episode, absolutely, up on a harvest moon. We have had a good little time with you guys, and it's definitely at my wolf out time. I probably sound different, look different, and everything else. I got some Wolfman Jack going on. I'd love to be a midnight DJ. I know I've said that before.
I know. But
I'd love to be coming on and just be like, hey, y'all, what's going on?
You'd be really good at that job.
Oh, yeah. Be doing more like...
You'd be edumacating everybody on there.
I'd be more like, hello,
music.
Hello, everyone. This is John. Or I just have to do some different name, like, hello, my name's Atlantis. I'll be what?
I think keep going.
I'll be your guide to the other side from now until 5 a.m. So lean in, turn it up. If you're on the road, you're an over-the-road trucker, we're thinking of you tonight. And this one's for you.
Aw, I'd sleep to you.
Well, you do all the time.
I turn the radio on and let you lull me to sleep.
There'd be all kinds of car crashes. It'd be like, don't listen to Atlantis.
That's where you'd have to invent the thing where you fall asleep and it makes a really loud noise.
Yeah, don't fall asleep to Atlantis. All right, well, if that happens, it'd probably be found paranormalsideshow.com. That's your address to find out everything Atlantis. Facebook. What? Facebook.com/Paranormal Sideshow. There's no pictures of Atlantis there. On the Twitter, it's at Sideshow97. You might find some Atlantis. Instagram, hot Atlantis. Damn. John and Stacey Edwards. On Patreon. Be a patron. Be a supporter. And pretty soon, if you are a supporter, you might get first crack at the Till Death book, written by yours and yours truly. I don't know how to say that.
That's okay.
As we, poured our love, sweat, and actually what we did was we made a deal with the devil, and between midnight and 6 a.m. we were locked in a little closet, and we wrote it with Moonblood.
There you go.
So, yeah. It was a very interesting undertaking. Copying it was a bitch, is what I heard. But we did what we could. We actually used finger paints. And the finger paints.
Oh, they glow in the dark.
I still giggle sometimes thinking about somebody having that first apartment of ours and turning a fluorescent light on in the bedroom and having all the finger paint stuff all over the glow in the dark finger paint stuff.
Yes, I'm sure it's still all over the place.
Oh, it'd have to be. Can you imagine the first time somebody did? Somebody got a black light. And then there was just all this nastiness all over the place.
Jesus, this is a crime scene. What's going on here?
For my lovely wife, Stacey, my name's John Edwards. So long from the Sideshow.
Good night.
Hey guys, if you like what you've heard, please check out ParanormalSideshow.com and follow the links for our weekly podcast. Also, become a Sideshow off yourself and pick one of our killer levels on our Patreon to help support the channel and to help keep us bringing you bigger and better content. So until next week, for my lovely wife Stacey, I'm John Edwards. So long and
stay strange.